magnetism's perfect.
Hello, welcome to Silent Command Stream. This is Series 3. You're tuning into Advanced Conducting Skills. And then this series, our goal is going to be to, number 1, add on to our library of cueing. Number 2, know where to put cues in. 3, advance our musical vocabulary. And 4, really understand what it means to be a good conductor and show musicality and understand what the performer's perspective looks like. But in this video, we're going to discuss advanced mechanics of cueing, right? So if you tune back into Series 2, we talked about the very basics of cueing. So I'll review those quickly. So say that we want to cue on beat 1, right, of a 4/4 bar. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to prep on beat 4, cue on beat 1. 4, 1. So I prep, cue, and then come back in. So we have prep, deliver, and follow through, and then come back into your pattern. So at this point, you should be able to accurately and successfully prep, cue, deliver, and come back in. Now we're going to talk about some ways to modify that to make it powerful. So let's talk about modifying each step of the process. So if we're going to modify our preparation, a really cool way to experiment with modifying preparation is to modify the direction that you're coming from, right? So right now all we have is 1, 2, 3, prep, cue. A great way to modify that is to come across the body. 1, 2, 3, prep, cue. That can be very powerful. If you come from over here, it gives more of a just really more of a special presence to it and can give more power to it as well. Another great preparation is 1, 2, 3, prep, cue. So coming from down under and then delivering the preparation. That takes a little bit more time on beat 3, the and of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that can be very powerful for things like glissandos in the mellophone section or runs in the mellophone section. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1. Preparation, other ways that we can advance the preparation if you want to have a lot of power. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have a larger prep and then deliver. So those are really 3 ways that you can advance your preparation. Across the body, down below the body, and higher, expanding above your head and giving more of a grandiose presence to your cues. Cool, okay, so that's the preparation. Let's talk about the delivery. Now the delivery is probably the most malleable of all of the types of modification that we can make. We can modify our hand shape, we can modify where the delivery happens. So let's talk about all those things. So hand shape, thinking about the style of the music and the style of articulation that you want to convey, and we're going to talk more about that later on in this series. But if you understand the style, you can understand how you want to put the cue in and what you want to show. So say that we're at a very light dynamic, very soft, very kind of bouncy, happy style. Maybe that this would be like a movement 2 in your show. And we want to show like a soloist entrance. I want you to tell me and think about if this shows a soloist entrance. 1, 2, bing. If it's at a soft dynamic and bouncy, that would be a great soloist entrance. 1, 2, 3, bing. Right? Very good. That's how we show a soft entrance. Now say that we're on the opposite end. We want to show like a final impact of a show. A great one that I love to do is the fist hand shape. The fist hand shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that gives it like a very, like almost like a fist of power, super excited. It kind of gives that vibe to it. So I think that you'll find that the fist can be a really powerful way to show emotion and can be paired with good facial expression. Okay, so that's 2 ways to modify our hand shape. Let's talk about if we just want to bring a group in, right? We want to give them a cue to say, hey, play here, but we want it to be more special than just prep cue, right? 1, here it is. 1, 2, 3, prep, cue. It's a little bit different across the body, and all we're doing is a nice gentle open hand to bring them in. It's really not that difficult, and it's not super special, but it's different enough from prep cue that you're not going to look like you just learned how to cue, right? Okay, so we've talked about preparation, delivery. Let's talk about the follow through. Follow through is something that is very up to you, and I don't want to over define. I just want to give you the tools so that you can define it yourself. And of course, the follow through depends a lot on what happens afterwards. So say that like we had that mellophone glissando earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. If they go into a sustain after that, 4 and a 1, a very powerful follow through can be point and continue, and then you can give them a release as needed. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. If we're doing the punch hand shape on that delivery, another good way to kind of continue that power and continue that emphasis that you want to have placed on that downbeat note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then continue to hold the hand, even if it's not a crescendo, even if it's just like a ba-da, 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 that can give a lot of power and a lot of emphasis to those notes that follow the cue that you've just given. And then let's say that we go into a day crescendo. I think you can be really creative with day crescendos. So we go 5, 6, 7. Here's the cue. Cue, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. You can show the style of the day crescendo by cue, then go immediately into day crescendo, and then hand comes back in whenever it's convenient. So I think those are some modifications that you can make, and you can certainly expand your toolbox of cues and of hand shapes and of preparations, deliveries, and follow-throughs to make it as interesting as possible. But I would caution you, don't let making a gesture cool be the thing that makes you want to do the gesture. We're going to talk later in Series 3 about how to know when to do gestures and how to put them in, and kind of how to figure out what to do when. But for right now, think about, is this necessary, and is what I'm doing showing the music, or is it just looking cool? That is the screen that you want to apply to all cues and all expressive gestures that you put into your conducting. Am I doing it for me, or am I doing it to help my ensemble? That's really the real question. And if you ask that, you'll always conduct well, you'll always conduct at the right time. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Next, we're going to continue with some more advanced conducting concepts. Don't be afraid to go back, check out some old videos, see what we've done to get here. And if you can't quite do some of the stuff that we're working on right now in Series 3, go back to Series 2, go back to Series 1. Work on those fundamental skills, practice them well, and come back when you're ready to go. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.